Guttering. We're going to look at the guttering section of our pricing sheet. This movie is broken down. We can view it all in one go or watch the sections individually. Working out the guttering is really easy. The NHE Plus does much of the work for us. Some elements will require our judgment, but the built-in visual references make this simple. The wastage percentage for the guttering is here. This is the percentage that will be added onto the items. It's in a yellow box, so we can change it if we want. If we're not pricing the guttering, we can switch this section off. Just tick this box and the costs will be removed. Guttering type. Before we begin checking and entering the details for our guttering, we need to tell the programme the type of guttering we'll be using. This is a really neat feature. We have the option for standard plastic, deep flow, cast and square plastic. By default it is set as standard plastic, but we can change this in our master file if we tend to use a different type on most of our jobs. OK, so as we can see the type is set to standard plastic, and all of the items in this section have a standard plastic guttering item allocated to them. But watch this. Let's change this to deep flow. See? Every item is now set as a deep flow material type, all in one click. Let's do it again. We'll select square. Instantly, every item changes. Well, as it's so quick, we may as well take a look at cast. Again, all of the items listed have the cast guttering options in them. We're going to use the standard plastic, so we'll just switch this back. Entering guttering. When we arrive at the guttering section, much of what we need is worked out for us. Due to the nature of guttering, some items will require our judgment. These are indicated by a clearly marked blue box. Let's start at the top of this section and work our way down. The length of guttering required is worked out for us. The programme will look at the roof structure and flat roof sections of the pricing sheet and base its calculation on what we've already entered. As the text in the picture tells us, the programme works out the length of guttering based on the fascia that's entered. 9 times out of 10 this will be correct for the job, but we'll notice that these quantities are in yellow boxes. So if the guttering on the job we're doing doesn't follow this criteria, we can overtype the preloaded measurement. Our 5-bedroom house doesn't have a flat roof, but we did put one in to see how that section of the pricing sheet works. We haven't removed it yet. We can see that if a flat roof is entered, the programme breaks the guttering down. So the top yellow box contains the length of guttering for our pitched roofs, and the box below contains the length of guttering for flat roofs. Now we've looked at this, we will remove the flat roof section from our pricing sheet. OK, the flat roof has been removed. The length of guttering for it and any other associated items, such as covering, are also no longer allowed. Let's continue looking at our guttering. We need to tell the programme the quantity of downpipes and put the information into this red box. Let's click the question mark. OK, we've got a visual reference, and we can enter the number in here too. Our job is like the picture. Let's put in 6 downpipes. Now we need to enter the number of gutter runs. Click the question mark. This gives us clarification of what the programme means by a gutter run. The example in this picture has 12 gutter runs. The NHE Plus needs this information so it can start calculating the number of end stops that will be needed. Again, our job's like the picture, so we will enter 12. Right, let's look at what's been worked out and complete the relevant blue boxes. The guttering is here. It's standard plastic. The programme's looked at the length of the guttering that's selected and calculated the number of lengths that we will need, plus wastage. Guttering brackets are worked out for us. If we click the question mark, we can see how the programme is calculating these, and we can adjust these default settings if required. Internal and external bends will need our judgment. We can use this visual reference if we want any help. This shows us what the programme is asking for. If we click this info icon, again we've got another pictorial reference. We need to allow for 10 internal and external bends. Keep an eye on the stop ends. Let's enter 10 into the external-internal bends box. See? The programme automatically reduces the number of stop ends. As we've now entered the bends, it knows not all the stop ends will be required. The outlets have been automatically worked out based on the number of downpipes we've entered. We do need to tell the programme the number of jointers, if any, that are needed. We'll enter 7. If gutter guard is required, just switch it on by clicking this box. It will be automatically worked out. We aren't going to be using this, so we'll switch it off. The downpipe requirements are entered here. We'll notice that there are 2 boxes. This is so that we can allow for the different lengths of downpipe that may be required. Some parts of our job are 2 stories and others are 1. This enables us to allow for the differing lengths of downpipe that we'll need. We're going to want 4 downpipes that are 4 linear metre lengths, and we'll need 2 of the 2.4 lengths. We'll notice that as we enter these, the downpipe brackets automatically work out. We can click the red question mark to see how these are calculating, and we can change the settings if we want. We do need to tell the programme if any downpipe connectors are needed. Just enter the number into this blue box. Swan necks are worked out for us. We can see in the picture that this is based on 2 per downpipe. This is correct for our job, but we can adjust this setting if required. Downpipe strainers are also calculated, again based on the number of downpipes, but we do have the option to switch them off if they aren't something we want. We do want these, so we'll switch them back on. If we enter a hopper, like this, the number of outlets will be adjusted for us. We don't need a hopper, so we'll remove this. Any downpipe shoes are entered here. We don't need any, but just to show you, if we enter 2, for example, the number of base connectors will instantly decrease, as the programme knows that 2 of them will no longer be required. Let's just remove these. The downpipe base connectors, we can switch them off if they're not needed. We'll just switch them back on. The final item is downpipe splash blocks. By default, this is switched off. If we switch it on like this, the base connectors will be removed. As we've seen on other items, the NHE Plus is intuitive and knows that if splash blocks are being used, downpipe base connectors wouldn't be required. We'll just switch the splash blocks back off. See, the base connectors are back. Extra row and totals. As we've seen, all of the common and not so common items that may be needed for our guttering are in this section of our pricing sheet. If there is an item or task that we need to allow for that isn't listed, we can add it in. We just click the extra row button that's located here and follow the built-in instructions. Or we can click this info icon and we're provided with information about adding an extra row. The totals for our guttering are here, so our materials, hours, labour, and overall total. We'll also notice that we can mark this section as being a provisional cost, or PC sum. Let's tick this. The programme provides us with an information form about how it deals with PC sums. Let's click the View Summary button. We'll notice that because we've told the programme that it's a PC sum, it's colour-coded it for us on the summary sheet, so it's instantly clear. Let's go back to the pricing sheet. This button will take us back to the top of our guttering section. Our guttering isn't a PC sum, so we'll just switch this option off.